Hello, everyone. Welcome to LLK number 65. I am Laura Nelkin. I'm a knitwear designer. I live in upstate New York in the Finger Lakes region, and I am joined by my alter ego, Lola. Lola's pretty spicy. She is surely going to show up a few times tonight. She always does. I'm a little bit more reserved, but I'm not actually that reserved because Lola and I are pretty similar. If you are new to watching my lives, welcome. I am so happy to have you here. If you have watched many of my lives, here we go. One more. I've been trying to do one live a month. I've been sticking to that pretty well. I snuck this one in right at the end of January. And last week, when I thought I was going to do a live, I just wasn't totally sure what I was going to talk about. And this week, I think I could probably chat for 2 hours, although I'm going to try to keep it to a little less than that. I do have you all over here on my chat, but I try to not look at the chat too much because I find that I get really distracted. So if you are watching live and you see the chat box and you want to chat with each other, totally go for that. If you're watching later, you can enable that chat so that you can watch it and see what people are saying while I'm chatting, or you can minimize it. At the end of the live, I will ask if there's any questions and look over at the chat to see if there are any, but I try pretty hard not to be checking it while I do the live because I'm highly distractible. If any of you have ever taken a class with me, it's very easy to get me off topic. I think sometimes people do it on purpose. So I try not to do that. I see that people are introducing themselves and saying where they're coming in from. Some of us are in places right now that are quite windy and cold. Some of us are in warmer places, and some of us are in stormy places. It seems like our weather is all over the place right now. I did send out an email this afternoon, and my first paragraph was kind of disgustingly positive because I actually really love winter. I don't mind a stormy, windy day. I took advantage of a very sunny day yesterday and went for a great ski. This is kind of my season, and it's when I feel the most like myself. I kind of get into stuff really deeply. There's less distractions. I don't feel like I should be like out in the garden or doing this or doing that. I can get a little bit more focused. So I've been embracing the snow. I had really, really hoped to have some photos for you all of Taganic Falls, and I was supposed to go earlier this week. There's an ice dome right now, which doesn't happen often, where at the base of the falls, the ice kind of like comes up into a dome. It happens every few winters when it's really cold. And I will go by this weekend. I'll go and get some pictures and like throw them up on Instagram and Facebook because it really is super cool and it's fun to share it with everybody. I think the path in there is pretty icy right now, so I have to put on my yak tracks, which is fine. I'm happy to do that, and I will certainly share it. So I have a list of things to chat about tonight, just so you know what we are doing tonight. I'm going to talk about Novus jacket, which is my new pattern, Novus DK weight jacket that launched today. I am going to talk about things that are off my needles that I have finished knitting that you know about or are going to know about soon. I'm going to talk about the things that are on my needles. I'm going to show you some yarn that I've bought since we talked last. I am going to talk with you about Knit for Food, which is about to launch, and so that is very exciting. We are also going to discuss my next trip, which is to Spain in November of 2025. And then just a little bit of other stuff. I always kind of round it out with like what I'm listening and watching and reading and all that jazz. I got nothing for you on food right now. Haven't really been doing anything extra special with food, just kind of going along. So at the end of the live, I will announce the last live's winner, and I will let you know what the giveaway is for this live. So that's everything we're doing in a nutshell. Grab onto your knitting. I hope you have a cup of tea. I got a new mug around the holidays, and it matches my nails incredibly well. It's made by my friend Gina Enzina, who is a Ithaca potter. So one of her mugs was one of the January prizes in the first quarter knit along, and the January prizes are all going to ship out tomorrow. There are 4 winners, 2 from the Ravelry group and 2 from the Facebook group. And February's prizes are going to be yarn from my stash. So every week on a Monday, the first Monday and third Monday of the month, the winners are chosen on Ravelry. And then the second Monday and fourth Monday of the month, the winners are chosen in the Facebook group. And all you have to do is post a picture either in my Facebook group or in my Ravelry group of one of my designs that you're knitting on. The rules are a little bit different in Ravelry because you have to like make a Ravelry page and link to that project page. Facebook, just slap up a photo. You are welcome to double dip, so you can post in both places. There's different eyeballs in both places. It's really fun to see what you are all knitting. I saw there's been so many hoodolas and caltipuses. That's kind of, I'm going to say I hit a little bit of a zeitgeist or something. I love that word zeitgeist so much. I think it should be a mystery knit along name, FYI. But I released Caltipus as a mystery knit along in October. Many of you know that. Maybe a few of you don't. Maybe you're newer to me. And Caltipus was a hooded cowl that started from the top down and then went into a cowl shape. And I can't believe when we got to the reveal, I forgot to show everybody the coolest thing about Caltipus, which is the way to wear it when it's really cold out. And all you have to do is fold the cowl. I can't believe I forgot to tell everybody about it. And then it was so fun to share it in December. You fold the cowl up so it's on the inside. And then I'm going to put this on with my glasses, which is either going to go well or not well. Put it on just like that, and then you are totally snug and warm and cozy and covered up. So I've been skiing. If you couldn't hear me, I've been skiing a lot, and I'll start out when I'm cold with it like this. And then as I warm up, I can tuck it down. I can pull the hood back. It keeps my neck nice and warm. And it's just another way to wear your Caltipus. So silly that I didn't share that. And then after Caltipus released at the end of the month, everybody who was on my mailing list got a free pattern, and they got the pattern for Hoodola. So many people, being on my email list, I really try to treat you guys well because I so appreciate that you put up with my emails in your inbox every week. And Hoodola also worked from the top down, exact same shaping as Caltipus, but much simpler. And then this January, we added a little I-cord casing to it so you could cinch it up around your face. And what we are doing next is working on grading Hoodola for smaller sizes and then one bigger size for people who have bigger heads or bigger hair. And the first round on testing of that went south. It didn't go right. The grading that we did, it's so hard to figure out like how much ease per head size and shape, and then like this measurement turns out to really matter a little bit more than like this measurement, kind of like that here to here measurement. And so they ended up like super pointy coming out in the back, and then like a little too deep, and then some of them were like a little too tight to get over a head. So we're kind of working on those measurements a little bit to get that a little easier to get onto the smaller heads. And then everybody who tested seems like really game to try again. It's a fun, fast knit. So that will be out, I bet not till, at this rate, like I bet not until March. And if you have purchased the pattern, you will get an update with the sizing. And then you can just kind of be knitting Hoodolas for gifts over the summer and, have a pile of them ready for Christmas next year, which is awesome. So I'm so glad to see so many of you here in the chat. And I will say that I have never had patterns go quite as like, I don't know if I want to use the word viral, but they got a lot more attention than I'm used to my patterns getting. And it's been mostly all amazing. It has made for more work. You all know that I love to interact with you on Facebook and Ravelry groups and answer questions and help you and respond to emails. And I'm like almost of the tipping point of needing a little bit more help with that, especially because Knit for Food is coming. So I'm very aware of like what I can handle in a day and not just be like living on my computer. I haven't actually like knit a stitch. I knit a tiny bit last night when I was teaching, but I've been knitting very much, which is not my goal. I like to knit. So we'll figure it out. I know how to pivot. I know how to move. You guys are always so freaking supportive and helpful, and I really appreciate you. Um, so if you're on my email list, you saw a new pattern came out today. The pattern is for Novus DK jacket. Behind me, Goldie, who has a gourd on her head today, if anybody has noticed that. We got a little punchy while we were doing the set. Goldie is wearing the bulky weight version of Novus jacket that came out a whopping 9 years ago. And I have a few photos of that jacket in case you've never seen it before or you don't remember it. It's knit in bulky or super bulky yarn. This is a longer version. There's my old pup Nochers right there. This one I knit with two yarns from Fiber Company held together. It is done in my side to side construction, which is structured but seamless. And many of you knit a Novus jacket. This was like from the original photo shoot when I was showing you different clasps that could be used on Novus jacket. And then here I am. I was looking, trying to find photos of me wearing it. And this was one I found from a photo shoot for like some yarn for bearing blanket, I think. And I was like, oh, the jacket looks great in those. I'll show them that. So if you don't remember Novus jacket, it is up on Ravelry. It is on my website, and it is a bulky weight version. And forever, you all had been asking me to do a DK weight, like more of a cardigan and less of a jacket, more of a like throw it on the back of your office chair, or grab it when you're a little chilly in the house, or grab it as a lightweight cardigan when you want to go out. And I cannot believe it took me 9 years to do. But last winter, we released an update to the Novus patterns. I have about like 13 or 15 patterns that use my side to side construction. And we released a way to use Stitch Saver to make the construction like so much easier. And when we did that, I was like, okay, guys, now's the time. We're going to do Novus DK. I found this yarn at my local yarn store, Homespun in Trumansburg, New York. She does not have a website, so I can't send you over there. Sorry, Julie. It is Kelborn Woolen Sport, which is just like a great workhorse DK weight yarn. It is not super expensive. It is really well made. It does not pill easily. And I made a huge mistake. And the mistake I made, I'm wondering if people are going to figure out what the mistake I made is. The mistake that I made was to choose a yarn that was really dark. And I chose this yarn because I knew that I wanted to have a sweater that would that was just like rich and yummy and burgundy, and it would like go so well with my wardrobe. Dark colors are a little bit slimming. I'm all for that. So I chose it, and then we ran into this problem that photographing dark yarn and projects within dark yarn is really, really, really hard. I'm just checking something to make sure the stream is working. We're good. Okay, sorry. I saw the chat box that nothing was happening and it made me nervous. Maybe if someone just dropped something in the chat so I know we're good, that would be awesome. So I have a lot of photos to show you of Novus DK jacket, and the first ones are the ones that were really that went well. It was our third photo shoot that we did, I think, in December. And this photo shoot we did in a covered bridge in Newfield, New York. It's a beautiful old covered bridge. And we just got really lucky that the light was coming in so beautifully that it just really highlighted the stitches really well. You're going to notice that one thing that the Novus jacket has is pockets now, which is new compared to that other Novus jacket. So I've got a video for you that I'll post tomorrow that shows how to add a pocket to your Novus jacket. It is also linked in the pattern. And here it is with the light, just kind of, the light was so perfect. So I was like inside somewhere where the light wasn't on me, but it was reflecting. And you can really see the stitches and the details really, really well. And also like that stunning arc of the covered bridge. And there is the back panel, so you can see how the Novus construction works. Is the sweater is worked in two halves, and then a panel joins those two halves up the back, and then that happens again on the side panels to join the front and the back. I do have a separate video. Many of you I know have knit many Novus jackets over the years, so I don't want to distract you with that. This is an example of one of the photos that didn't go as well. This photo, you can hardly see, you can see the goldenrod behind me, and the light was actually really nice out. We took these when we did the roofline photos, but you cannot see the stitches at all on the cardigan, which is really, really weird. And so we kept trying. That didn't work out well. And then we tried again, or well, this is another one from that same shoot, and you can see it's like fun. I'm outside, my hair is braided, there's goldenrod, I have a necklace on, but seeing the stitches is really hard, and that's really important to me for pattern photography. Even getting closer up, still not awesome. So we tried again. We tried in the studio. I was getting a little punchy about it. I mean, that's a classic Lola shot right there, right? But still, the sweater looks great. It's hanging beautifully. You can see the shape so well. I love all of that, but you can't see the stitches. Like the necklace is what you see when you look at this photo, and that's not really the goal for you as a knitter. You want to see what you're knitting and be able to understand it. It's not like a lifestyle photo. Even from far out, again, it seems like it's more about the jewelry and the sweaters, like the accessory. So it lets you know what a great sweater it is, because it just kind of like blends light in. You can see you're seeing it styled all different ways here, like over a dress with some wide pants, with some jeans. That's kind of fun. I used jewel closures as well on this Novus jacket. So that's like a little stud that Jewel Design sells. It's JUL. I'll give you a link in the show notes afterwards. And then you can see the other closure I got from them when I was in Spain here. So you can wear it just kind of like open and flowing, or you can wear it closed like that with any kind of closure. A closure from Jewel, a shawl pin, whatever works for you, you can go with. Thank you. I saw somebody, I just looked at the chat and I saw somebody said something about the necklace. That was a gift from my friend Pam on a cruise last year, and I absolutely love it. It's actually knit out of wire by an artist in the UK. I think I talked about it in a previous live, but I cherish it, and it clearly, when it's in a photo shoot, it's like wants to be the star of the show. So the pattern was ready last April or April, and then we just kept trying to get shots. We tried to get shots in the summer. We tried to get shots in the later fall. Then we waited again, and I kept getting busy with other stuff, like busy with the mystery knit along, busy with, I don't know, the N Club or Lola, and I would be like, ugh, I can't even deal with you. I can't photograph you. I kept like almost having another sample made, but like not wanting to do that. And so I'm so glad we just waited and we found the right place, and I learned about choosing yarn. And so I'm very happy to have this in my wardrobe, because I don't think I will knit very many more dark samples for that I need for photography. So if you want to knit a dark one, go for it. I will say the other thing about dark yarn, and we all know this, is that it holds onto, what's that word we learned before the live started? Schmeg. It holds onto schmeg very well. Schmeg, I believe, is Yiddish for like dust or lint. We use it all the time at our house. Max and I were actually like, what exactly is schmeg? It's schmeg. It's that stuff that you have to pick off your sweater before you leave the house. It's like when you have cat hair and lint balls on you. But dark yarn loves it like a magnet. I love the Scout. I'm actually wearing it bare skin and it feels great. It is not toothy at all, but it's like much more structured than a superwash. So really any DK weight yarn for Novus DK. If you are in my email list, you got an email today with an extra special discount code for both the bulky weight Novus jacket and the DK weight Novus jacket. If you didn't get my email, sign up for my list so you get them in the future. It is 20% off on Ravelry now, and both of those discount codes go till February 4th. If you're not getting my emails and you know you signed up, this is a good time for you to email me and tell me that. This is a good way to check the list and make sure that somebody didn't get unsubscribed by mistake. But you have my email, I'm sure. I'm not hard to find. I'll make it easy. So that is Nova's jacket and the story of it and some learning, and I hope you love it. I set up knit along thread in the Ravelry group. There are many of us out there who have knit many Novus construction patterns. For some of you, it might be brand new. If it is brand new, I highly suggest that you start with the baby Novus pattern to wrap your brain around it. You'll just need one skein of DK weight yarn to do that. And that's a great way to understand the construction before you go like all the way in with a sweater. Although it's not hard knitting, and if you trust my pattern, you could do it with the DK weight jacket or the bulky one. Alice wants me to check Urban Dictionary. Yes, Alice, there might be some other translations to Schmeg that Lola, I almost said Bella, that Lola is very aware of, but we call it dust or lint. So I'm gonna have to check with my mom later and make sure that that is Yiddish for dust or lint, because if I just said something horribly disgusting, forgive me. You know, this is live with Laura and Lola. What else do you want? Okay, other things that are off my needles. I know I said I haven't been knitting a lot, but I have because I have a photo shoot on Monday. And so I've been prepping as much as I can because my sweet photographer is very pregnant and she is going to take some time off to finish out her pregnancy and have her baby. So I've been trying to like front load. Don't ask your rabbi, Virginia. Sorry. Let's ask my mom first, okay? Sorry, no, I'm not supposed to look at the chat. I'm so bad. So things that are off my needles right now, or like almost off. So I have a lot of ends to weave in on the March Lola's Choice patterns. Those are finished. I just need to weave in ends and have everything like set up and ready for the photos. All of the designs for the cruise in March that I'm taking a group from Buenos Aires in Argentina around to Santiago in Chile in March. So all of those designs are done, just got to weave in the ends. Interestingly, the March Lola's Choice project looks really good on one of the projects I made for the cruise. So that's kind of like a fun piece of synergy. And I was like, what am I going to wear this with? And then I was like, oh, I actually just knit something it's going to go really well with. I'm doing very well not telling you anything at all. I'm so sneaky. And then the other thing that is off my needles or almost off my needles is the design for Patty Lyon's retreat in April. I just wanted to have that kind of almost done. It's like in grading right now and with tech, and I just have to finish an I-cord edge that is very, very long, but I have a new I-cord tool, so that is going well. And I will have it ready for Monday for the photo shoot. I still have to figure out what I'm going to wear with that one. And then let me see what else. That's everything off the needles, which is a fair amount. I also am working on grading the Lolancha sweater for like a lighter weight, like a 5 stitches to the inch yarn. So you could knit it with a lighter weight yarn. And I have some fun ones over here I'll show you when we get to the yarn section. The other thing that is off my needles that you all got, and not everybody, but if you're a member of my smaller knitted kit club, Lola's Choice, you got a kit to make Farola socks. And Farola socks were knit with yarn that I found at a gas station when I was in the Faroe Islands I guess that was last June. Super fun trip. And they are a toe-up sock that has a forethought heel that is worked with Stitch Saver. It's a pretty unique technique for working a forethought heel. That's where you plan for your heel and leave a gap. I feel like this photo shows that gap really, really well on Stitch Saver, and then finish the leg and then go back and finish your heel afterwards. And there is a knit along for it in Ravelry. The pattern is available. You can, if you want to knit some DK weight toe up socks, you can get this Navia yarn at a few yarn shops. It's not at a lot of yarn shops, but I do think that Kelborn Woolens has it on their site. You can tell I'm having like a love affair with Kelborn Woolens lately. So that's Ferola socks as something else that is off my needles that I hadn't shown you yet in a live. The other thing that is on my needles is or it's like almost on my needles, we're still in design, is the first kit for 2025's End Club. And there are literally 5 spots left in that club. So when those spots sell out, there's no more chances to get in it. Even if you email me begging and saying you missed out on signing up, I can't help you out. It's just got limited spots because I have to order everything ahead of time. And some stuff is being made for the first kit. So it's not like I can be like, oh, more people signed up, I'll just get some more. We got a limited number for this one, and it's pretty special. I'm really excited about it. And that I am going to knit on family vacation next week. So I am going to have the design all ready to go. And then I'm bringing like one project, maybe 2 with me, because it would make me nervous just to have one. And I'm just going to kind of really sink my needles into it. I'm so looking forward to it. It's going to be really fun. So that's like everything about my knitting right now. And before we talk about, I think I want to talk about Knit for Food, and then we'll talk about yarn and move on from there. So that's my segue into Knit for Food. Do you all know what Knit for Food is? I got thirsty, sorry. Knit for Food is a 12-hour knitting marathon that raises funds for hunger and food insecurity in America. This is our 5th annual Knit for Food. I have some stats right here that I can read to you about Knit for Food. We raise funds for 4 organizations: Feeding America, Meals on Wheels, No Kid Hungry, and World Central Kitchen. So those are 4 organizations that are really steeped in the hunger and food insecurity sector, field. I don't want to sound too like industry about this. And when we started the knit-a-thon in 2021, my daughter had worked for a local food bank during the pandemic, and I became aware of how many people in my area were experiencing food insecurity and hunger, and I really wanted to do something about it. And I chatted with you all actually on a live, and you were like, hey, and I was like, what about a knitting marathon? We could raise some money. And you all were like gung-ho, we're like, yes, let's do it. And now we're going on the 5th, and we have raised over $1.25 million to fight hunger and food insecurity with our knitting needles. So this year's knit-a-thon is on April 5th. Signups are going to open on Saturday, which is February 2nd. I think we're going to open the signups like a little bit slowly just so we don't get overwhelmed. And basically the way that you join us is by signing up on our fundraising site, and then you get a link, and then you go to your friends and family and say, hey, I'm knitting for 12 hours to fight hunger and food insecurity. Do you want to sponsor me? Just like if you were running a marathon or riding your bike around a Finger Lake or any of the other fundraisers that you know where you commit to do something and then people support you in that hard thing. The secret is that we all know that knitting for 12 hours is really easy, and we're all very, very, very excited about it. And, you know, we have to train a little and take care of our hands, and we certainly get to take breaks, but it's so fun. Like the day itself is so uplifting. And when the first few years that we did the knit-a-thon, we really like leaned heavily into having Zoom programming. But the last year or two, there are so many local meetups. Like in the Ithaca area, there was one in Dryden, there were two in Trumansburg, there was one in Corning. I could have just driven around all day and gone to meetups and knit with different people. I went to one in Trumansburg and then I had to come home. So the way we'll do the Zoom programming is we'll have a session in the morning and a session in the evening. And in those sessions, we'll hear from all four organizations, learn about the work they do, and also learn about the impact that our fundraising has done for them in the work they do, which now we can hear about 5 years later. We'll have a really fun game night with Patty Lyons. It's just going to be a blast. I'm sure we'll do some like dancing. We've always had kind of like a dance marathon in there, practice dancing and knitting. It's so fun. So fun. One of my favorite things ever. We have already set up the Give Butter page and we're testing it to make sure that everything is working smoothly. I wanted to show you this so you would know what it looks like when you go to sign up. You can see where it says kind of underneath that Knit for Food, to the right of team leaderboard, it says join a team. And then to the right of team members, it says fundraise. You can click either of one. If you have done Knit for Food with us before, I want to remember to tell you that you already have a login because we're using the same site. So remember to log in to Give Butter. When you go to do this, it'll ask you like, do you already have an account with Give Butter? Don't make a new one because then you'll like have all of your stuff right there ready to go. And the big difference we're doing this year, if I kind of go back to that to show you, is this year we're gonna have something called multi-team fundraising, where there's different teams, so that like if you're a yarn store or you're a guild or you're a designer and you want to kind of get a bunch of people to knit with you, you can make a team and then they can join your team. And this is something that had been requested that we do. And I think it really makes sense to do now because it means that more people get individual links. The way we were doing it before, like a store would sign up and then a store would share their link with everybody. But then all those people weren't getting our weekly emails, like weren't getting our tips and tricks for fundraising, didn't know a lot about it. So this way, I think we're going to have even a broader reach and a better idea of how many people are knitting with us if more people are signing up individually. If they don't want to sign up, they can just get the link from the store or designer or whatever. That is fine. The goal here is not to make rules. The goal here is to raise money and fight hunger and food insecurity. This is a completely grassroots project. It is 100% volunteer run. We have zero operating expenses and 100% of the funds raised are donated equally to the four organizations. So everything that comes in goes right back out again to them. And I'm very proud of that fact. And for as long as we can continue to do that, we will be doing that because I think it's hugely important. Finally, I thought it would be pretty fun to show you a photo. People were sending me photos after Knit for Food last year, and I just like super quick slap some together into a collage to give you an idea of how much fun Knit for Food is. If some of you are listening and you have never done Knit for Food before, we would love to have you join us. I might try to like snip this out of the live to post it somewhere for people to watch and for you to be able to share because it kind of explains it pretty well. So signups open on Saturday. So excited. Thank you so much for joining along with us in this hugely important effort. One of the things I will quickly say, because I think it's important to say, is I work really hard at not being political, although I do have strong personal political beliefs, because knitting, I feel like, is one of the places that can bring us together so that eventually we can like talk about the hard things, maybe talk about the things that we don't agree with, but still see each other as like-minded, lovely humans instead of this like my way or the highway path that America seems to be taking lately, which is just absolutely frustrating and heartbreaking to me. So Knit for Food very important to me that we remain, what was it? I put it in an email today to the team. I was like, our goal is to be politically agnostic and just help feed people. That's the goal. So I hope you guys are all along with me on that. Things that can bring us together right now are what we all, I think, are craving and need, and that kind of like positive action. And Knit for Food is that for me, and I hope it is for you as well. So thank you. Okay, I got deep, and now I feel like it's time to talk about yarn. Do you want to talk about some yarn? Let's do that. I take a sip from my teacup in between every section. So I have more yarn here than I meant to have here, but I'm just, I love yarn. So Heather just, oh, sorry, I saw that. Heather said, I wonder if she can get her employee to sponsor her. She works for a food company. Heather, go to them. See what you can do with them. See if they'll like do some kind of matching. I don't know. Just be creative. So fun. I got this sock yarn blank. Let me go to my overhead camera so I can show it to you because the color's great there. From Fiber MacGyver when I was at Rhinebeck in October. And I got it because it's the Knit for Food colors. And the way that sock blanks work is it's actually 2 strands of fingering weight. I think this one's fingering weight yarn. Maybe this is... Now I'm like wondering. Yeah, it is. This is 2 strands of fingering weight yarn, which actually makes a DK weight yarn. And it is like white when it starts with, and then Susie dyed it. And when I got it, I was like, it's the Knit for Food colors. It's amazing. So I actually want to knit a buble out of one of them. I don't have a photo of a buble here to show you what a buble looks like. I might end up when I go to knit it, maybe like cutting out some of that tan colored and not have as much of the tan in there. But the orange and the blue are like so the Knit for Food colors. So I think it would be fun to make a buble for Knit for Food. I think it's fun to like just go to your LYS and look around for orange and teal yarn, like the colors of our logo, just to remind you what that logo looks like again. And, maybe find something to knit to wear for the day. I try to make no rules for like what you're knitting, right? Like we've never done a like knit along on the day because it's enough that you all are fundraising. You get to decide what you feel like knitting or finishing or whatever. I just saw somebody ask, what's a yarn blank? Why do they knit it? And then you unknit it. Sarah, they're actually really fun to knit off of because it kind of like comes unknit as you're knitting it. And for dyers, it's a really nice way to get a gradient. So a lot of gradient yarns are actually dyed on yarn blanks and then unwound and wetted and then like put into spools because it's a really easy way to get a gradient that goes from one end of a skein to another. That was a very good question, and I'm glad I could explain that a little bit. So that's one project. I think I might bring that with me on the cruise because buble, I've knit a few of them while I'm traveling, and it's a very easy, like, pick it up and put it down. It is hard to mess up. And then I'll just be able to wear it by the end of the cruise. The next yarn I got, I'm super excited about, and it is a vegan sock yarn from LaRue. And vegan yarn means that it doesn't have any wool or animal products in it. It's 40% tencel, 40% organic cotton, and 20% elastic. And I think it's going to make a really nice summer sock. And so I didn't get one skein. I bought 2 skeins, and then I'll put them under, of course I did, underneath the camera, and they're close, but they kind of are fun together. And you can see that it's kind of got this barber pole effect in it. And I think that's because the elastic doesn't take on the dye. These guys are hand dyed. And what I am going to knit, I believe, are some toe up larch peds with that really awesome foot shaping on them. And then the cuff worked opposite, because it's worked the same way as Barcelona cloche. So I already kind of figured out how to reverse engineer the cuff. And I'm not sure when I'm going to cast those on, but I think it'll be that might be my second vacation knit besides the N Club project. And I think I hear from a lot of people that they don't want to wear wool socks in the summer, even though they're not actually that warm. But I think it'll be pretty fun to have like a cotton hand knit sock. And I know there's a few, I feel like Haiku has a cotton sock yarn that has elastic in it. I always forget what that one's called. But pretty fun. So that is one great idea for me going forward. I got that yarn when I taught at, let me see if I can find the photo, at Connected Stitches last night. I taught a class on flip top mittens for some local friends, and that was very fun. And then I spent all the money I made teaching on yarn because that's how we do, right? It's dangerous to be in a yarn store. Um, then I went to another yarn store today because I don't know what's going on. I have a stash like skeins and skeins of yarn deep, but nothing was like fitting it for me. And have you guys ever knit with Remix Light? It's not an expensive, oh, somebody said it's called Kobasi. Um, Remix Light is not an expensive yarn. It makes a really nice fabric for summer. It's nylon, cotton, acrylic, silk, and linen. And it's got this like yummy tweedy bit. And I think it might work for that the low lancha light, which we're calling low lanchita. So I'm gonna swatch this over the next bit and see if that will work. And I love this color. It's not quite as harsh gold. It's a little bit more peachy, and it's a color I love to wear. So I think this will be brighter, and you'll be able to see the stitches a little better, right? Um, and then the other thing I bought, I haven't seen if Andrea's watching tonight or not, because I'm going to show something, but who knows. Um, I got some Noro today because I've been wearing this one Las Cruces shawl a ton that I knit for Knockout Knits like in 2014. And I'm just kind of having like a Noro love affair. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen with it. I did buy two skeins. It's such pretty, like light, bright, springy colors. So I don't know when you're going to see this, but it's going to happen. It could work for a low lancha. It could be a little too crazy for a low lancha. But check this out. So I was at Homespun quickly today because I just needed a break from the computer. And I forgot that Wednesdays have knit night, or sorry, knit afternoon. And it's a bunch of women who, I'm going to say most of them are retired, which is awesome because they can meet on a Wednesday afternoon. I'm honestly very jealous. I always say I'm going to go knit with them, and then I'm always like too busy on Wednesdays, often because I have a live and I'm prepping. And one of the women, Elizabeth Lawson, had just gotten copies of a book that is just published called Moss and Lichen. And so I picked it up to be like, oh, that's super pretty cover. I love that so much. Look at those photos. And then I opened it up to this photo. Look at that cool plant. That's the sporophytes of yellow moose dung moss. And then look at the Noro next to it. Like I literally had just bought this Noro and it was in my hand. And y'all know I like some lichen. I love some lichen. Look at these colors. It's so beautiful. So if you know somebody who's into moss or lichen, I know somebody very well who is into it. This is written in different chapters. So she said it's really like designed where you can just like pick it up and read a chapter and learn a bit. I think it's got history in it. It's got some science in it. It's got gorgeous photos. I'm going to keep it and read through it a little bit before I pass it on because it just looks so fun to read and it's kind of separated. And I get to go see some penguins in March, so I got pretty excited. This is a moss and lichen add color to a chinstrap penguin's backdrop in Antarctica. I'm not going all the way to Antarctica, but I do get to see a few penguins. Yeah, that ladybug. They're not actually ladybugs, they're like some Asian beetle. They love the lights in the studio. So, oh, sorry, so much. Hi, I'm back. So that's my yarn. Having a good time with yarn lately. Just some new fun stuff for my needles. And the next thing that I want to tell you about is my next trip. So the last live I teased that I was getting ready to tell you about my next trip. And then I kind of forgot to talk about it. And I am just looking up the dates of it right now because I forgot to make a note. I'm such a bad person. It's right on my blog. So you can actually read about this trip if you want to on my blog. If you just Google Nelkin blog, and after the live, I'll give you all the links below this. Okay. It is November 9th through 18th, 2025. So back way before Thanksgiving. And it is a similar trip to last year's trip to Spain, where we start in Madrid and we have a tour in Madrid and do some fun Madrid things and go to yarn stores. We'll have a master class with me on the design that I will design for the trip. And we'll get to know each other. We had some really fun kind of like knitting circles, and we're going to have a paella making class on this trip, which will be really fun. And then we have a day where we go to the La Mancha region and get to go to the Wool Dreamers Mill, which is a very unique experience. And then we get to see the windmills of La Mancha, where Don Quixote hails from. And then we go on to Barcelona for Barcelona Knits and do lots of classic, amazing Barcelona things like Gaudi's architecture. And we're going to go up to Montserrat one day to the monastery to see the Black Virgin. And we'll go to have a flamenco night and have a tapas flamenco dinner. And then we will do some workshops. This year, what's a little bit different is the entrance to Barcelona Knits is included, but workshops you'll have to purchase on your own. It just makes things a little bit easier for the organizers to do that. So if you've traveled with me before, you've already gotten an email telling you about the trip and asking if you want to sign up. And then later this weekend, if you are in any of my clubs, which would be Lola's Choice or N Club, you will get an email asking if you want to come on the trip with me. And then if there's any spots left after that, I will open up signups to my whole mailing list, and there will be a link on the blog that says sign up here. There's only 28 spots in the trip. I think we already have 6 or 7 people signed up. So my trips do tend to sell pretty quickly, and I try to make it so that if you're in my clubs, you have kind of perks, right? As a thank you. And then it also means that people who are traveling with me know me, which I really love. It's so fun to get to know each other better, especially when you like watch my lives or you do knit alongs with me and we have some interaction and knit together, or I've met you at a class. We have some kind of connection, and it just makes that travel experience so much stronger. And for those of you that have traveled with me before, you know I'm all in on these trips. I am doing it with you. Lola comes out a lot. She's a spicy little devil. She has a very good time. I see someone asking if the trip is handicap accessible, and no, this one is not. I would say cruises are much better for handicap accessibility because there's a lot of walking in the cities because buses can't get around. So this trip, we ask that you can walk at least a mile or not more, that you can handle all of your own luggage if a bus can't get up to a hotel, and that you can get up like at least 25 or 30 steps at like a reasonable pace. That's kind of the rubric for this trip so that everybody has a great time. That was great. As you see people asking about Scotland or Ireland, I'm sure I'll do trips to Scotland or Ireland again. I've just done them a bunch, and it's fun for me to do new stuff. So until I'm kind of like, when I get that craving to go back to Ireland, which like, how could it not happen, or Scotland, then that's when I'll organize a trip over there. I'm more focused on trying to do some Faroe Islands in the future. And then I really want to do a Baltic cruise, which is a cruise that I was trying to do that got canceled during the like COVID times. And I really would love to get that back on the schedule at some point. So that is my trip. It would be very fun to have many of you travel with me. I know it's not a choice for everybody, but if it is, I'd love to adventure with you. In terms of sewing, you all know I sew a lot. I had a plan to get one more pair of magic pants, which I've told you about before, sewn for the photo shoot. I know that that's not going to happen. So maybe for the cruise, I'll get them done. I have fabric that goes so well with one of the cruise designs, so I'm like hopeful I can get it done, but just hasn't been a ton of sewing time lately. We will see. Okay. we're gonna like wrap it all up. And so a few more things to talk about are like what I've been listening to, watching, reading. I always kind of like end with that, and then we'll do the giveaway. Yes, my shawl is Las Cruces. Sorry, I looked at the chat again. I'm so bad. And I'll link to everything below. So like give me a half hour after we're done here, and then everything I've talked about will be below this video in the notes. So in terms of listening, I'm not really listening to much right now, trying not to listen to the news too much. But one of my favorite authors who wrote, oh my gosh, I meant to write down the name of the book. I can just look it up. You guys don't mind if I get on my phone when I forget things to look them up. It is a book that is set in Alaska. We all read it for the Alaska trip. Oh, there it is. It's called The Snow Child. It is an absolutely gorgeous, like fairy tale style book. If you haven't read The Snow Child, like run, get it. It's one of those books that I've actually read it twice, and I know I'll visit it again. Like I know it's like an old friend, and I will come back to it in like the next, before I go to Alaska again, let's say that. But that same author, Eowyn Ivey, has a new book coming out. She hasn't written a book in a long, long time, and it's called Black Woods, Blue Sky. And so I'm going to download that. I have an audiobook credit I need to use, and I'm very excited to download that to listen to it while I work on. I have a whole plan. While I knit on the End Club thing on vacation, that is my book in a nutshell. So excited. Reading. Y'all know I read a book in bed. Maybe you don't. Maybe it's your first live. Every night. I don't tend to read during the day very much, but I try to find something that's not too fun. And I am not doing very well right now because I found Rebecca Yarros, and I actually tried to start listening to it, and the narrator didn't do it for me. So I downloaded the book, and I am fully into Fourth Wing. It is a series about dragon riders. I haven't gotten to like the spicy, sexy stuff yet. I've heard it's coming. Excited. It's about like some young adults, not really like kids like Harry Potter, a little bit older. It is fun and well written and like thoughtful and interesting, a little bit violent. My girl was like, I don't know if you're gonna like it. It's very actiony, but I am all into it. So enjoying it. And in fact, I've been staying up a little later than I'm supposed to reading it. And I put it at the like a PS in one of my emails last week, and I don't normally get like a ton of response back to my emails. Sometimes I do, but I had a bunch of people write me back to be like, oh my gosh, so good. So you might enjoy them as well if you haven't read them. I can see the chat box going. I have a feeling there's some people who love that. Someone said too many characters for an audiobook, and maybe that was it. Like maybe I needed to see their names all written out to kind of keep track of them. Loving it. So that is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. And then in terms of watching, I finished Shetland season 9, which if you haven't watched any of the Shetland series, they're on like BritBox or BBC. I got BritBox for a month, and then I just ate them all alive, and then I canceled my subscription. So that was fun. So good. I think I got a deal for like $2.99 or whatever. Totally worth it. And then on Netflix, I'm watching something called XOXO Kitty that is actually really entertaining me. And that is what I'm going to watch a little bit of tonight while I start weaving in all those 800 ends that have to get done. So I got a little plan when we're done with the live tonight. I'm excited for that. Eating, I don't really have a recipe to share with you. I posted a photo on Facebook, I guess, last week of this crock-pot chicken tortilla soup that we make all the time. That's kind of our go-to because it lasts for a week. And I think Max and I are officially tired of eating that. So I went today when I was in town, and I got a chicken taco salad, which is basically the same thing as chicken tortilla soup. So yeah, food's a little boring right now. Sorry. I gotta bring that back around. I did find some super good caramelized onion hummus the other week at the grocery store that if you see caramelized onion hummus, try it. I like it more than the chocolate hummus I told you about last year. A lot more than the chocolate hummus. All right, let's wrap things up with the giveaway. So, the winner of last month's giveaway, I asked you all to tell me what you are like, what treats you love to make that aren't baked and are also gluten free. So, I had like quite a rubric for what I wanted you to tell me about. And Linda Neff said that she um, suggested the Okla Roots family rum balls. Those are no bake. Adjust the rum to how much party you need. And it reminded me of Lola's chocolate salami that it was a recipe that's on my blog from last December. And that was like a rummy, spicy, yummy, like log that's basically a rum ball, but like in a log with lots of chocolate. And that was a big hit last year. And I forgot to make one this year. So someone needs to remind me to make that next year. If anybody has any questions, you can ask them in the chat now while I get ready to tell you what the giveaway is. This is a good time. So, someone wants to know if I've gotten an oven yet. No, no oven. But I am happy to say, so here's the gig. We have to do a bit of a kitchen remodel to get an oven because we have a double oven and it's like a 27-inch wide oven and they just don't make one that we want. Like we know what we want for an oven and the ones we want would be 30-inch and we don't need a 30-inch double oven because that's just too much money and silliness. So we have to do a small kitchen remodel to just have a single oven. And we finally like figured out what that's going to look like, which is always the biggest step for me design wise and visually. And as much as I like design all over the place and make shit all the time, for some reason house projects are the place that I'm like the least confident. I think because the changes seem so big. Like a flower panel, I can take out some flowers and put in some new flowers, but house stuff just feels like very, very out of control. But we have a plan, so maybe by this time next year I'll have an oven. Toaster ovens are amazing, people. I'm looking for other questions. Jalapeno and honey hummus, that sounds really good. Oh, the book is called The Snow Child, and it's by Eowyn Ivey. And I'll link to that below. I'll give you both of her books below once this is done. I'm just looking through to make sure I didn't miss any other questions. Carol hasn't gotten one either. I love Carol that it's you and me and we're like happy with our ovens. I still haven't even gotten an air fryer, which I know you and Don got. Um, Pretty awesome. Okay. Iceland trip in the near future. No, not in the near future. The problem with Iceland is that it's cheap to get to and then very expensive to be there. But I hear you that an Iceland trip would be amazing. And those of us who have been there before want to go there again. Um, I see other people with no ovens, 16 years, no ovens. Don't tell Max that because I really want an oven. All right, now we're just chatting. So thank you so much for watching. I so appreciate you listening to me yammer, tell you stories about my designs, knit for food with me. The giveaway for this live is the other half of this sock blank. So I'm going to take it apart and unravel it, and one half is going to be for me and one half is going to be for you. Maybe I will have it a little bit cast on by the next live, which is February 26th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And your prompt to win half of this blank, which is like one half goes from orange to teal, is help me brainstorm ideas for getting the word about Knit for Food out there. Just leave a comment below with an idea. I forgot to tell you, don't leave it in the chat. Leave it when the video's over. I forgot to tell you that Knit for Food has an Instagram page now, so please do follow that. If you post anything about Knit for Food, tag Knit for Food. You can invite them as a collaborator. We're gonna just get the word out there. If you make videos on like knitting with food, we'll be able to share those. Give me some ideas below. The more of us that get involved and like get motivated to get the word out, the bigger Knit for Food is. It is a community effort. It is not just a few people running it. It is all of us. We are one big fat Knit for Food team. So that's your comment prompt. I thank you so much for watching. I was keeping chatting till Max was back to help me end the stream, and he is here. So thank you so much. I so appreciate you. I couldn't do this crazy ride without you, and I will see you February 26th at 7:30 p.m., but I know that I will see you before that elsewhere. Happy knitting.